Cattle can actually be a very important tool for creating bird habitat. There's a lot of things we can do on a ranch to improve bird habitat. You can plant native prairie where it doesn't currently exist. You can interseed with more forbs and plant diversity. You can control invasives. You can remove brush. But a big thing that is one of the most important overarching management actions on our ranches is grazing and how you approach grazing. And so unfortunately, much of the country, much of the ranch land that exists today has had sort of this continuous year-long grazing where they sort of just dump cattle out onto the land and just sort of let them be there for months, maybe years at a time. And the unfortunate result of that is it's a constant slow degradation of the plant community. The cattle will first select the plants that they most prefer, and since they're allowed to just sit there for months and years, very quickly those preferred plants are going to be eliminated. Then the next preferred plant will be eliminated until you end up with something that's basically the least desirable and oftentimes weedy and oftentimes invasive, sometimes not native plant community that replaces that. It's almost always a simpler, less diverse, less productive plant community from a production standpoint for the rancher and from a bird habitat standpoint, because you've essentially homogenized the landscape by removing all the forage and decrease the diversity to where you end up with a homogeneous landscape where cover is very low or diminished, and that's only good for a handful of bird species. There's a whole range of bird species that require dense cover or a combination of cover in some places and some of that bare ground in between. Things like quail, for example, need a little bit of everything on the landscape. Prairie chickens, meadowlarks, bobolinks, Henslow sparrow, these are all species that need some cover. So if you're homogeneously grazing the whole land throughout the year, you're not going to have much left for birds. And so that's a big part of what we do when we work with ranchers, is think about that landscape that we're trying to create and how we can recreate that landscape mosaic through the use of cattle, because cattle are the tool to do that.